The morning light cuts through the narrow window. It finds a glass flask trembling in a monk's hand. The liquid inside glows amber, thick, clouded, unnatural. He holds it up to the sun, and the world reduces to this light through urine. This is what medieval medicine looks like. The monk is the infamoran, a man of books and prayers. His fingers are stained with ink, not blood. He does not cut. He reads. And this morning, the body he reads is rendered in gold. He swirls the flask. The sediment spirals, too heavy, too dark. He brings it to his lips, just a drop, and winces. Bitter. The taste of imbalance. This is uroscopy. The art of diagnosis without touch. He does not know about bacteria. He does not know about infection. What he knows is older. The body, he believes, is a balance of four sacred fluids. Blood, the fire of life. Phlegm, the cold calm. Yellow bile, the rage. Black bile, the sorrow. He consults his chart, an illuminated manuscript passed down through centuries. Each color, each texture, each thickness corresponds to a disruption in the humerus. This man's urine tells a story. Too much heat, too much bile, an excess that must be drained. Dust motes spiral in the shaft of light. The infirmary smells of parchment and tallow. Outside the bells toll for lords. Brother Thomas dips his quill. The diagnosis is written in Latin. The body he believes speaks in philosophy. He does not know he is wrong. But he is not guessing. He is practicing the best science his world has given him. The walled garden is silent except for the grinding. Stone against stone. The herbalist's hands work the mortar, crushing leaves into powder. The air is thick with the smell of damp earth, and something sharper, something dangerous. He is preparing the sleep sponge. 4 plants lie before him on the wooden bench. Heloc, opium, mandra, henbane. Each one a killer in the wrong dose. Each one a mercy in the right dose. His hands pause over the mandra root. It is twisted, almost human in shape. The doctrine of signatures. They call it the belief that God shaped plants to reveal their purpose. A root that looks like a man must cure a man. It is poetry. It is faith. It is sometimes catastrophically wrong. He crushes the root. The grind echoes off stone walls. There are no measurements here. No scales, no certainty. Just centuries of whispered knowledge passed from master to apprentice. Too little powder, and the patient will wake screaming beneath the blade. Too much and the patient will never wake at all. The opium paste is sticky, black. It clings to his fingers. He mixes it with wine. The liquid carrier that will soak the sponge. The sponge that will be held over the patient's nose and mouth. The sponge that might grant unconsciousness or death. He does not think of himself as a gambler, but every preparation is a wager. The margin between sleep and silence is measured in grains of powder his eyes can barely see. He wraps the mixture in linen. The sleep sponge is ready.
The bleeding is slowing.
In 3 hours it will be
burns.
tested, and
Will
he
he
will
live?
learn once
He needs
again
rest.
whether his hand was steady enough. The stonemason lies on the table. His leg is ruined, crushed beneath a falling block. The angle is wrong. The shape is wrong. He knows what is coming. Everyone knows what is coming. The physician stands in the corner with his robes immaculate and his hands clean. Having made the diagnosis and consulted his texts, but he will not touch blood because that is work for the barber. Work beneath a man of learning. The barber-surgeon steps forward with his apron stained brown from years of this work. And though he is not educated and does not read Latin, his hands know flesh the way a carpenter knows wood. The tools are laid out on the table. A bone saw, 3 knives of different sizes, cauterizing irons heating in the coals, their tips glowing dull red. They look like instruments from a workshop. Because that is what this is, craft work, desperate work. 4 men position themselves around the table, 1 at each limb, while the mason is given a strip of leather to bite down on. The sleep sponge was held to his face earlier. But everyone in this room knows it is never enough. It dulls the world. It softens the edges, but it does not grant true mercy. The barber does not hesitate. There is no time for hesitation. Chore, give me the knife. Chore, the room erupts into controlled chaos. Firm hands, steady voices giving commands. The mason's body tenses against the leather strap. His eyes roll back. The men holding him brace themselves. They know the body's instinct to fight, even when the mind understands the necessity. 60 seconds. That is the rule. Any longer and the body surrenders. The heart gives out. Speed is not brutality here. Speed is mercy. 30 seconds pass and the work reaches its conclusion. Though now the vessels must be sealed. He reaches for the core iron, the heat radiating from it before it even makes contact. The smell changes immediately as smoke rises, and the mason's body arches, once violently before, going completely still, unconscious now, perhaps the only blessing available. The barber steps back with his chest heaving, his hands steady as they have always been, and he wipes the blade on his apron before nodding to the physician. The physician steps forward now that the blood has stopped and the dangerous work is finished. The wound refuses to close properly, the bandages showing crimson seeping through, and the mason's breath comes shallow while his skin takes on the color of old parchment. The master physician unrolls his chart. Beautiful, intricate, hand-painted, depicting the zodiac man, a human figure overlaid with symbols of the heavens so that Aries crowns the head. Taurus guards the throat and Pisces curls at the feet. He does not see this as superstition, but as astronomy, as science itself, because the same forces that pull the ocean tides must surely pull the blood through our veins. And the human body is a small mirror of the vast universe. He pulls out his astrolabe and steps to the window where afternoon sun slants through the courtyard, measuring the angle and calculating where the moon must be at this very moment. The moon is in Scorpio, which governs the deep waters of the body, but the wound is in the leg ruled by Aquarius. So the moon should not be interfering. And yet something is clearly wrong. He consults a second chart showing the planetary hours and discovers that Mars is ascendant. Mars, the red planet of iron and war, and most troublingly of blood itself. This hostile sign might explain why the wound continues to weep, and he wonders if the surgery was performed during an unfortunate celestial alignment when the very stars opposed healing. The heavens turn according to mathematics older than any kingdom. And the body, he believes with certainty, turns with them in sympathy, responding to celestial influences just as crops respond to seasons. He makes careful calculations, noting that if the humors have been thrown into disorder by this stellar alignment, they must be rebalanced, but not from the wounded leg, which has suffered enough. Instead, he prescribes controlled bloodletting from the arm, precisely 2 O's. But this must wait until Venus rises and the moon passes into Sagittarius, when the heavens will favor healing. He rolls the parchment carefully, having done what a physician does: read the signs, consult ancient wisdom, and time his interventions to harmonize with the cosmic order. Tomorrow, if the mason lives, they will open the vein under better stars. Night falls over the hospital ward, bringing dimness punctuated by scattered candles whose flames flicker and dance, casting shadows along stone walls like spirits keeping watch. The surgery is over and the mason lies still, his chest rising and falling in shallow rhythm. And around him, 24 others occupy straw pallets. A woman with fever who shivers despite the warmth. A child with a cough that echoes off the ceiling. A man whose wound refuses to heal. The air is thick, not just with breath, but with smoke rising from braziers burning in each corner. Frankincense and rosemary and juniper branches crackle softly, sending smoke curling upward in lazy spirals, filling the space with gray haze that stings the eyes, but soothes the mind. This is not ritual alone, but medicine as they understand it. Treatment as deliberate as any puss. Medieval physicians believed disease travels through the air itself. Carried on corrupted vapors they call miasma, bad air that seeps from swamps and rises from corpses. Invisible, but deadly, spreading illness from one person to another. The smoke is meant to cleanse this poisoned air, to purify the atmosphere, and create a protective barrier between the living and invisible forces that threaten them. The patients breathe it in, some coughing gently, some closing their eyes, some moving their lips in silent prayer. Adding their petitions to the rising smoke, a monk walks slowly between the beds, carrying a thurible that swings gently on and its chain, releasing more smoke, and his voice rises and falls in Latin, chant low and steady. The patients do not understand the words, but they understand the intention. A plea to God, an invocation of saints, a call to anything that might grant healing. There are no miracle cures here, no certain remedies, because a simple wound can turn deadly, a fever can transform overnight, and even kings can die from small cuts. The mason's breathing continues, steady for now, but offering no promises, while the woman's fever may break by dawn or climb higher, and the child's cough might fade or worsen. They fight death with the only weapons available, knowledge passed down through generations, herbs gathered at the proper moon phase, charts drawn with precision, prayers offered with faith, and smoke, always smoke rising toward heaven. Outside the city sleeps, but inside the ward, the vigil continues through the long night as monks keep watch and patients wait. Somewhere between ancient wisdom and desperate faith, between observation and prayer, medieval medicine does what it has always done. It tries with everything it has to hold back the darkness, just a little